Hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hopefully, you're doing well today. My name is Bryce Tubbs. Today, I wanted to talk to you about how a mentorship student named Iman was able to go from $4,000 per month to about $10,500 per month. I want to screen share so you guys can see about like what's going on, how she was able to do so in order to go and grow her business. Let me escape this real quick. So, number one thing that she was able to do, okay. So, also one thing to keep in mind, it's kind of hard for me to see because I've never done it with this kind of software. The key thing here is that not only was she able to go get to about $10,000 per month in 47 days, she also signed two contracts that are set to pay an extra $7,400 per month starting in January. So, like, this extremely big news for her. This is pretty life changing, for a number of people, right? So before we get started, let's do some engagement for the algorithm. So sometimes I ask people to do like, likes or comments or shares inside these videos because we're trying to get Facebook to show it to more people. Since these videos are free and they are a lot of work to put together, we want to make sure that more people are able to see it. So if you're watching this thing live, wherever you're watching it, please write down hashtag team live inside of the comments. If you are watching the replay, go ahead and watch and write down hashtag team replay. And also, right? Hashtag connect if you want me to connect with you to answer some questions that might not have been answered during this video about growing your business. And then finally, if you want to see if I can help you grow your business without having to go through a lot of the pains and problems that most people go through when starting to grow, click on the link inside the description, either above or below the video, to see if I can help you out and see if you qualify for our mentorship program. So, kind of jumping into this thing. So, who am I? My name is Bryce Tubbs, and I started my accounting firm back in 2015. And the first year in business was extremely hard. I didn't really know a lot about like sales and marketing. So what that would look like would be I would be going to networking events. I'd be walking into business owners' offices trying to see if they would give me some work. And I had no idea how to price out my services. So I ended up undercharging a lot of stuff. So like the most money I was really able to make in a month was about $2,300. Like I had a big cleanup, it was like 1,700 at the time. $1,700 a month was really big for a cleanup. Now, when you're used to making good money in corporate America and you end up only making $2,300 a month in your business, before expenses, bills get kind of tight. So I ended up going back into corporate America for about 8 months to kind of rebuild some of my savings, kind of catch my bearings, and just kind of like decompress from all the stress that I've been going through for the last like 6 months and doing it. And it was extremely embarrassing because a lot of people had known me inside of the areas like that person who was starting a business because I had told all my friends, told my family, told all my colleagues, I told everybody that I was gonna go be successful. I was gonna start this business. I was gonna make a lot of money, and I was going to just never be back and be like live a regular life again. But unfortunately, that didn't really work out for me the first time. So looking back, there's really three things that I was lacking that prevented me from really finding success. Like number one, I didn't really know how to find the right client. So I sucked at marketing. Okay. Number two, I had no accurate way to price out my services. So I always undercharged. And number three, I couldn't explain my value on the sales call. So they didn't even want to sign up with me at my low rates. So I ended up investing about over that last like 8 months I was in corporate America, I ended up investing about $35,600 and like a little bit of change on courses, masterminds, vacation retreats, guru seminars, because I was desperate to figure this stuff out. But once I was able to figure it out, that's when you start getting six figures. When you invest in courses, you invest in mentorship, you start knowing what to do, you start knowing what not to. That's when your income starts growing. So let's kind of jump into Iman. How was she able to do it using my help? So also, if you want for me to send you a copy of this document, type in document inside of the comments wherever you're watching this, and I'll send it to you. Now, background. Iman was about $4,000 per month for about 2 years. So that's a good start. And a lot of people would actually be content making $4,000 per month with their business for about 2 years, right? But in her case, she wanted more. So she was extremely good at creating like workflows like in Asana, and she also believed that she was able to take on more work because of how efficient her process was, how everything was just organized. She had some subcontractors underneath her that were very inexpensive, so she was basically with a lot of free time, but she just didn't really know how to market herself, right? So she was trying to do like a lot of like just random stuff. Like she would be like mailing like postcards. She tried cold calling. Um, and like a bunch of like little methods that she would try like off and on because they just weren't really working for her. Now, her goal was to get to about $12,000 per month. And she booked a call with me. We basically spoke about a specific game plan for her because she was in a slightly unique situation. She was already making a good amount of money, but she wanted to go and kind of like scale it really quickly. And we made sure that like we could do this within about 3 to 6 months, right? We're always looking to go and get someone to about $10,000 per month in under 6 months. In her case, we want to do it really, really quickly. So we were so sure we can actually do it just based on my history of working with students, just knowing like what are those signs that you're actually going to be successful. I gave her a performance-based guarantee. We worked with her until she's making at least $12,000 per month in monthly recurring revenue. So basically, for those guarantees, if we're certain that we can actually help you out, we do make guarantees for certain people. And that's only if you qualify. And that's only assuming that you, number one, do the daily action steps we tell you. Number two, you show up to coaching calls, like you don't just ghost once you get in. And number three, you actually follow the proven blueprint that we lay out inside the program. And she did all that. That's why she was successful. So long story short, she started getting success with email marketing and a contractor site called Paro. So the problem with Paro, right, is that the average hourly rate for most quotes when someone tries to go on the platform is anywhere between like $30 to about $45 per hour, because the contracting site is going to about 1.5 to double whatever price you give to them. They're going to go put that to the end client. So they're making a pretty good margin off of that work. The good thing about Paro was that some of those contracts are 30 to 40 hours worth of work per week on a very long-term basis. So even though it's only $45 per hour, if you multiply by like 30 hours per week, that's $5,400. Or if you multiply by 40 hours per week, that's $7,200 per month that you'd be making from these contracts. So it's a very kind of strange problem to have, where it's a low hourly rate but high volume of work. Most places that people go to, like on Upwork, it's low volume and low hourly amounts. So you can't really make a lot of money on most job sites. This one was slightly different for her because she just really maximized and she just knows how to use that. So the first thing is we talk about subcontracting work out to a different country, right? And in her particular case, she was able to find people who are willing to subcontract for between $20 to $25 per hour. And they do really great work. And plus, she's really good at like knowing how to train people to do accounting and bookkeeping. So again, on capacity, she had a lot of capacity. She could probably take on about 3 to 4 other clients that needed about 40 to 50 hours worth of work per week. So she had capacity down. She's ready to go. And before we jump in, let's talk about what she did not use. Okay. So she did not use Craigslist. She did not use Upwork. She did not post on Facebook. She does not have a Facebook business page. She didn't have very many connections. That's why she was stuck at 4,000 for 2 years, and she hadn't really been to a networking event. She definitely has not been to a networking event since we started working together. Now, a lot of people are utilizing these methods to try and get clients, and to be completely honest, it's really hard for you to get clients with that. Craigslist can be okay, but you're generally going to get more of cleanups, but not a lot of ongoing work. Upwork is generally like bottom of the barrel. You're fighting for like these lower dollar amount clients. It can be very challenging. Posting on Facebook is hard because if you only have 5 connections or 5 followers on Facebook, you're barely even going to be shown to the 5. Facebook only shows your post to about 5% of your total audience at this current time that we live in. Now, next thing is she didn't have connections. It's really hard if no one knows you exist and you don't have any people that own a business inside of your circle. It can be really hard to grow. In her case, she didn't really have that, so she was starting from scratch as far as like making relationships with business owners who could either refer people to her or could afford to pay her money for her service directly. And she hadn't been to a networking event at the time. There just wasn't really a lot of networking events when she first got started, so she never really got around to learning that process. So specifically, what did she do to grow so fast? So there are 3 main partners, and they're really good sized clients that they have. Now, they're partners. Now, the way that we talk about partners inside my program is we always talk about partners as your sales reps. As they grow their business, as they live their life, they are constantly trying to meet new people. They're trying to grow. Oftentimes, they're in other professional services, and they're able to introduce you to clients that need your service. They're acting like your sales reps. Now, the sooner you can do this, the faster you can start going and adding more, because now you have the mentality that, okay, so I'm looking for this guy, this guy, this guy, this girl, this woman, this gentleman, and we're trying to go and grow as fast as possible. And we need a certain amount of referral partners, a certain amount of partners in general. Now, the second thing in her case, part Paro became her outbound lead generation team. So Paro and email were what she was using to go and get them. Now, when she started getting the partners, they were the ones that were bringing in the clients. So her specific goal was to start building her business, so she could sell in about 5 years. That's why she had hired the subcontractors. That's why she wanted to grow big. That's why she wanted to keep making money. That's why she wanted to keep growing, even though, she's making a really good amount of money now. Because a lot of people are going to ask, she's at $10,000 a month, 10.5, whatever the number is. Why is she continuing to grow? Why does she want to grow? It's because she wants to sell her business and she wants to be able to basically punch life in the face and retire within about 5 years so that she can do, more consulting and speaking, things like that. So there are three main partners that she was able to go. Now, specifically, two of these partners are the ones we were talking about signing up in January. So they signed the contract, but they had to actually start paying in January 1st is when they're going to start work. And they've been planning a lot of projects together and kind of coordinate things. Jeff actually gave her 4 cleanups and then 4 clients that needed like ongoing monthly. So the 4 clients broke down to about 6,600 and some change for the ongoing monthly. That's not counting the cleanup amount, right? So together, she's actually added about $15,850 to her recurring revenue. We're not counting that for the sake of the video because, the contract does state that everything starts on January 1st. So we're only counting the money that she's collected, which was the 6650. Now, her own clients, the direct clients, we call those direct clients out of our program. She has about $4,500 per month worth of those. So her total projected revenue for January is going to be about $20,350. So the goal is then to start getting stability at that $20,000 per month mark so she can actually recalculate her true goal. So her true goal, we're thinking somewhere between about $30,000 to $40,000 per month. Now, some people might ask, why do you need $30,000, $40,000 a month? You don't need it. You want it, Sometimes in life, you got to stretch your mind to where it's like you can live comfortably on 10, but you're trying to see how far you can go. You're trying to see how many clients you can help. You're trying to see what can you do. You're trying to see just expand your capacity in life and just start growing. It's a very relaxed, 40K per month is what it's going to be for her because a lot of the client work's already taken off her shoulders. So she just has to learn to keep training new subcontractors, taking on more work, new subcontractors, taking on more work. Then she might have to get a manager to go and manage the subcontractors and just start growing like that. Now, she is starting to put those in place. We are working really closely with that. Now, what is her growth plan to continue to grow past $20,000 per month? Okay. So number one, it's going to be sending out more proposals. So Paro is very proposal based. Okay. So she was sending out X amount of proposals. First thing we're going to do is how can we go and double the number of proposals that she is sending out? So when I asked her that question, she goes, I don't know how I can send out more proposals. I'm kind of inconsistent when I send out proposals, but I get a 50% close rate. Okay. So then I asked her a second time. So let's see, how can your firm send out more proposals? She still didn't really get it. She's like, well, I don't know how. Okay, let's see your specific virtual assistant named Alina. How can she go and send out more proposals for you? Okay. And that's when it finally clicked. She said, okay, I need to go and start making more SOPs for my assistant to be able to send out these proposals for me so that I can grow. So the first thing we're going to be working on together is making sure she has a really good training system for her virtual assistant to be able to replicate her and grow the number of proposals she can be able to send out. Okay. So it's going to be very, 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 very specific with that. So just creating frameworks, SOPs to make sure she knows exactly what to do because she's good on the workflow, like actually doing the work. But when it comes to the rest of her business, the marketing workflows, that's kind of where we're kind of moving towards, right? And it's really about her thinking more of like a CEO rather than a technician, okay? A lot of people when they're starting an accounting or bookkeeping business, they're thinking, how can I do the work? How can I do the work more effectively? I want to talk about the work. I want to be the only person doing the work. And it's just the work. But once you get to a certain point in your business, it needs to start flipping towards sales, marketing, fulfillment, okay? Now we're changing the work into fulfillment because that means it's more someone else is doing it. It's more client success. So now what she's working on is making sure that she can keep the touch points very high with the end client. She keep the work moving really efficiently with her subcontractors doing it, and she can focus a lot more of her time on meeting new clients at sales and then generating new opportunities, which is marketing, which will be now fully handled by her virtual assistant. So next thing is her goal is to double the number of partnerships that she has. So when we talk about partnerships, in her particular case, we're talking about doubling the number of profitable partnerships that she has. Now, as we said before, she has these 3 partners. One out of 3 has already been paying her about $6,600 in monthly recurring revenue. Now we're waiting for about the second person. She's going to be doing about $2,000 per month just to kind of start. It might grow over time, but right now she's just kind of testing out Iman to see if Iman's team can actually do a good job. And then Brandon's a bigger one. He has a huge amount of clients. Now he's subcontracting the work out to Iman. So that means that she's going to basically come as a contractor inside of his firm and handle all the bookkeeping work that he has. Now that's a huge amount of work. Now this is another one that came from Paro to make the connection. So she has to be able to kind of manage and navigate that because now she has two people that she has to kind of maintain the relationship with, Paro and the end client. So we had to start doubling the number of these partners. Okay, that's the ideal. Is doubling the number of partners or seeing if we can just go and find two more either partners that can give us 40 hours worth of work each, or we can refer an extra $10,000 per month worth of clients to us. Okay, that'll probably get us about 30,000. If we do the partners and they can give us 40 hours of work, that's really going to get us to more of that $40,000 per month mark. So we're just trying to see which one is going to come first. In her particular case, I believe the partnership is going to work a little bit better for her. Next thing is we're going to take one of the contractors off, or one of the clients off of the contractor platform, so she can about 1.5x her price and starting in February. So the contractor platform she uses sometimes has like high turnover. So whenever someone turns over, you're able to take the client off of the platform and then just be able to do it long term. So in this particular case, like the client success is not really the best at that contractor platform. So when clients leave, they end up leaving a lot. They end up just working directly with the contractor who was initially assigned to them. So we're kind of counting on that. We have methodologies to be able to, increase the likelihood that's going to happen. And when that does happen, she would have just doubled the rate. So rather than being at $45 per hour, now she can be closer between $75 to about $85 per hour, kind of overnight, essentially. And we're predicting that'll be about February. So that's gonna be really cool to kind of see that play out for her. I mean, if it plays out just like that, then she won't really need to do anything in order to get to 30,000 a month. But we generally don't like to count on things like that being the saving grace for our business. We want to make sure that we have very sequential steps to be able to go and do that. Now let me check this platform just to make sure that I'm still live and everything is working. Someone said finally caught a live. Someone said team live. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. Someone said document. Okay, cool. How do I do any of those? Okay, cool. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to send you guys a message. I'll just send it or send you the document. I'll just send it afterwards. And just like we said, in case you didn't catch it when we were first live, if you want me to send you the document that's on the screen, go ahead and type in document. Also, if you want me, I actually recorded the coaching session. We kind of broke down each of the individual numbers and talked about this stuff with her. I told her I'd be sharing it out in the future. I don't know if she knows I'll be sharing it out today. So I'm only going to share it out to about maybe 5 people. If you want for me to let you get a backdoor glimpse of the coaching call that I covered this in detail with her about the strategy and all the stuff that's going on, go ahead and type in 30K strategy. And I will actually send you the recording of it so you can kind of see it and watch it and her words, how things are kind of turning out, like what she's looking at, what her thought process is. And, there was a little bit of extra stuff we covered inside of that video. I'm not covering inside of this video specifically because it's not really relevant to everybody, but it might be relevant to someone who really wants it. So type in 30K and I'll be sure to send it to you when I get a chance. Next thing. Number 4 way that she's going to grow. And this is kind of unique to her because, some of our students, as they start making more money, they start wanting to build a personal brand. So in her particular case, she wants to do speaking events, both online and in the local area. So first thing we're going to be thinking about is really, how can we get her about 5 speaking events per month? Really between 4 to 5 per month. Ideally, it would only take about an hour. We want to make at least 3 to 4 of them be virtual so that she can do a lot more of them without having to go and travel. Now, why is she going to do this? Why do speaking events? It's because she really wants to. It's not that she has to. Once you get past a certain point in your business, you're doing things because you want to, not because you have to, right? So she wants to be able to leverage. So 1 hour that you put in front of a group of people you're speaking to can impact hundreds, if not in some cases thousands, depending on the size of the audience, especially when it's online, that this thing can live in front of, right? And that'll allow you to speak in front of hundreds of thousands of people who can potentially give you money. So the more of these that you can do to the right audience, the easier it is for you to grow your business. Generally, from speaking events, you'll get about 1 to 2 clients per speaking event that you do, depending on the size of the room. There's 10 to 15 people who are on either the video or who are watching the event. You get 1 to 2 clients at these speaking events. Now, specifically how we're going to help her with that is number one, we're going to help her structure a presentation so she knows exactly what to say, how to actually promote her service without coming across like salesy or pushy. That's a really key thing that a lot of people don't know how to do. Next, we talk about making a list about how to find better quality prospects. So you can't just go on everyone's podcast or interview, because not a lot of people are going to have the right size clients inside their audience. So you need to make sure that if you're going to do a podcast, you're going to do an interview, you're going to be speaking somewhere, that the people inside of the audience who are listening are actually going to be relevant to you and are actually going to be able to work with you. When you can do that consistently, it's really easy to start, getting a pretty good amount of money. Next thing, we'll be talking about how to do a post-event email sequence. So, for example, one of our students' name is JT. Anytime that he does a presentation, either a speaking event, an in-person event, a webinar, he always gets about 1 to 3 extra clients after the event due to a post-event email sequence we made. Okay, it's very consistent. Just tells them exactly how, what the next steps are to utilize information that was given inside the presentation to actually help their business. And then they just want to sign up. They want to work with you. It's very cool how it just like pre-sells them into wanting to work with you. Fifth thing, her goal is just really making sure that we can get that personal brand built up. So I think what we're going to start doing is we're going to start actually having her make some videos for my YouTube channel. Basically just helping people like with workflows, QuickBooks training, just various things across the business that she's really good at. Just another perspective of it. So you guys actually see like live, like what it looks like to actually go to get to $30,000, $40,000 a month. Unfortunately, we didn't start it when she first started. I wish we had started tracking her progress a little bit more quickly. But unfortunately, you guys are gonna have to see her while she's growing. So that'll be kind of cool as well, and I can't wait to see that. She's also gonna be talking about like how to build stuff up with like different contractor sites. She's gonna be talking about how to build up an SOP training, like how to set up a sauna. That's something I really want to do because I really want to like start implementing that in more of our like mentorship program, like different things like how to set up a sauna, how to do better quality workflows, because that's like her specialty. That's just how our brain works. My brain doesn't really work like that. We do teach different workflows, but it's generally not to the detail that she's going to be teaching. So I'm super excited to be able to see that. Then we're going to be like looking at her LinkedIn profile. We already gave her a LinkedIn profile template, but there's like a special way you can tweak LinkedIn after you get to a certain size in order to kind of grow so that you can keep getting more and more referrals from the current clients she has and from the referral partners she has. And then finally, we're going to be trying to get her more contractors. She's either going to, start subcontracting work out to my team of staff accountants, or we're going to just show her how to start getting more on her end. It just really depends on like what she wants to do at the time. And yeah, that's basically how Iman is going to get to $30,000 per month. That's how she was able to go from $4,000 a month to $10,500 in 47 days with an extra $7,400 per month coming in about 8 days. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you want some help growing your business, maybe you don't want to get to 40 grand a month. Maybe you don't want to get to 30 grand a month. Maybe your goal is like 10, maybe 6, maybe 12, whatever your goal might be. I just invite you to go ahead and click on the link inside the description either above or below the video to book a call with me to see if we can help you out. We can't help everybody. Not everyone qualifies for this type of program. It does take a very specific person who is serious about growing their business, who wants to make change in their life. If that's you, then we can definitely help you. It's just seeing like what degree can we help you to, how fast can you get the results, and I need to be able to see like, hey, do I think this is a good fit? Do I think that the goals that you're saying are realistic based on the way that we're going to be doing it? If it is, I'll invite you into the program. We can talk costs, and we can get you signed up right then and there. If it's not a good fit, I'm going to at least point you in the right direction so you know exactly like what to do. So if that's you, I would love to see you on the call. If you're not quite ready, I will see you inside of the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Take it easy. Talk to you soon. And I will see you later.